What's the most painful thing a teacher ever said to you? When I was in 8th grade, I had an English teacher named Mr. Davis. He was one of those teachers kids whispered about in the hallway. Strict, impossible to impress, rarely smiled unless it was to make someone squirm. He graded like he was trying to break you, and most students dreaded being in his class. But for me, it was different. I loved writing, always had. I filled notebooks with stories no one ever read, fantasy worlds, emotional scenes, characters who lived in my head for years. Writing made me feel like I mattered, like I had something that was mine. It was the one thing I believed I was good at, the one place I felt completely myself. So when Mr. Davis assigned a creative writing project, I was ecstatic. Finally, something that wasn't a formal essay or a forced book report. We could write any short story we wanted, any genre, any topic. I wrote about a girl who could hear people's thoughts but realized she was absorbing their pain with them. It was personal. I stayed up late editing, rewriting, obsessing over every line. I turned it in with shaky hands but high hopes. When he handed them back, mine had a giant red C at the top. No comments, no feedback, just that crushing grade. After class, I stayed behind. My voice trembled as I asked, "Mr. Davis, could I ask what I did wrong on my story?" He looked at me with this blank, tired expression and said, "Some people just aren't meant to be writers. You should probably focus on something more practical." Then he turned back to his papers like I wasn't even there. I nodded, thanked him, walked out in a daze. I didn't cry until I got home, and then I cried for hours. It wasn't just a bad grade. It was someone telling me that the thing I loved most in the world, the thing that made me feel real, wasn't worth anything, that I wasn't good enough, that I never would be. I packed up every notebook I had, shoved them in a box, and stuffed it into the back of my closet. I didn't write again for nearly 2 years. Every time I picked up a pen, I'd hear his voice. Some people just aren't meant to be writers, and I'd stop. It wasn't until 11th grade that I tried again. Another English teacher read a personal essay I turned in and asked, "Have you ever thought about writing professionally?" I didn't answer out loud, but that question stayed with me. That night, I pulled the box out of my closet. Bit by bit, I started writing again. Fast forward 10 years. I was sitting behind a table at a bookstore, signing copies of my debut novel. It had just hit the bestseller list that week. The line wrapped around the building. I was overwhelmed, thrilled, nervous. I signed books for kids who told me they wanted to be writers, for teachers, for people who said my story reminded them of their own. Then I looked up, and there he was, Mr. Davis. He looked smaller somehow, older. He held a copy of my book in his hands. "I didn't recognize your name at first," he said, "but when I read your bio, I remembered you." I didn't know what to say. I was going through a divorce back then, he continued quietly. I was angry. I took it out on my students, especially the promising ones. Then he slid my book across the table. "Would you mind signing it?" I picked up the pen, paused, then I wrote, "To Mr. Davis, thank you for teaching me that the most important voice to listen to is my own."